Texas has 367 miles of beaches and over 3,000 miles of bay shoreline, the third longest coast in the nation. Their beauty and resources are invaluable to the people of Texas. Scientists at top Texas research universities are working with the General Land Office and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to unravel the mysteries of the Gulf of Mexico and maybe even find a sunken treasure or two.
We're looking for sand deposits. We collect sediment cores and then we analyze the distribution of grain sizes in the cores.
Most of our Gulf beaches are literally washing away. The causes are many. The sea is rising and rivers that once flooded beach-quality sand onto the coast have all been dammed. But pockets of beach-quality sand still exist offshore. Finding that sand is like hunting for sunken treasure. And a new project at the Texas General Land Office is decoding the treasure map. TxSed, the Texas Coastal Sediments Geodatabase, is a collaborative effort to put all of the sediment data ever taken off the Texas coast into one database. TxSed allows coastal planners to work smarter, protecting and rebuilding the Texas coast with less public money. And TxSed may just hold the key to ensuring that future generations can enjoy the feeling of sand between their toes.
Sediment data is collected for a variety of reasons depending on what the needs are. Some projects we're looking for mud, some projects we're looking to find sand that matches the same size as what's on the beach.
After all, what's a beach without sand? And not just any bit of sand can make the cut.
We generally characterize them in a basic way in terms of their grain size. It can range from gravel to sand to silt to clay and increasingly finer particles. Those parameters are very important for potential uses of those materials, such as needing to match the material on the beaches. If we're ever going to do beach nourishment projects, we wouldn't want to be putting clay on the Texas beaches. It's not very aesthetically pleasing.
Finding the right sand in the right place is key to having a successful beach renourishment project. And TxSed is leading the way to collect and catalog all available sediment data in one place.
We've been collecting sediment data in Texas one way or another for at least the last 100 years. As geological material, it doesn't change. And so if you took a core there 20 years ago and you take a core in the same spot today, the geology won't have changed. And so you can look at this older data and you don't have to go and take new cores in those places.
Sediments are valuable archives that provide us with a history of how the coast has evolved that goes back beyond the time when we were here to make observations.
Much like aerial photographs that began at about the 1930s tell us something about what the landscape was like in the 1930s, data that were collected offshore and from the seafloor in the past give us an idea of what conditions were like when those data were collected. Baseline data that we would get out of a project like this are difficult to come by, and once you've acquired them, you don't want to lose them.
Before TxSed, this intellectual capital was underutilized, as valuable sediment data was all too often filed away to sit unused, lost to any future efforts.
TxSed is a repository for sediment data for the Texas Coastal Zone. It's a clearinghouse for data that's been collected in academia, on private engineering side, as well as through some of our projects. In addition to beach restoration, TxSed also supports shoreline protection construction projects such as bulkheads and breakwaters, as well as habitat restoration projects like wetlands and bird islands. TxSed is a natural fit for GLO not only because of our coastal responsibilities, but also because of our technical capabilities. GLO is well known for the geographic information system capabilities that we have.
Right now, TxSed is playing catch-up, working to organize decades worth of data. Looking forward, TxSed will help coastal planners and researchers better understand the ever-changing Gulf Coast, allowing better decisions because of that knowledge.
The core collects sediment data to help us in our understanding of how the sediment transports along the coast, what types of sediment are available, and potentially how our projects could interact or change the transport of sediment along the coast. So it's important to have a benchmark or baseline of that sediment transport information to help us understand the environment better.
The whole construct of a regional sediment management plan is essential when we look at systems like Galveston Bay, because if you're looking for individual restoration projects, they need to be put in the context of what's available for the total environment. And so it all goes together with one concerted plan rather than a whole bunch of disjointed projects so that we can maximize the resources.
As we move forward, a lot of the agencies were doing similar data collection efforts, and as budgets get tighter, it'll be more important for us to leverage each other's efforts.
I have a project underway where we're studying a loss of sand from the coast during hurricanes. We need to know where that sand goes and how much of that sand is lost permanently from the coast and how much of it is eventually brought back on shore. We need that large database to determine where those resources are. It's a big gulf, it's a big area, and we're looking for sand bodies that may not be that huge an area. So the larger the database, the better the chance of actually locating sand resources. We can only collect so many cores. We rely on cores other individuals collect.
The data that we have on the Texas offshore is currently, despite all the work that's been done, relatively sparse. We have a core repository at the Bureau that holds core from oil and gas wells across the state of Texas and elsewhere. We think of this as a library of subsurface information that we keep as an archive for the future. In many ways, sedimentary data that's in the TxSed's database is similar to that. The data might have been collected for one particular use, but there are a myriad of uses that the people who collected the data might have never anticipated. And so through something like TxSed, you have the opportunity to have someone knowledgeable go through all those different data sets and try to present them in a standardized format. It's a data set that will only get stronger through time, and its value will increase as new data are added to it.
And so, bit by bit, TxSed is building a more complete map of the Texas coast. A map not only to the history of this dynamic environment, but a map that just might reveal the treasures hidden beneath Gulf waters.